Oh, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Why Ukraine: The Last Alliance. I usually do my guest live streams on Sundays, but I think we're going to be having a number of conversations, Emily and I here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hello everyone. So Emily here. What was a medic, among other things. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in a medic in Ukraine, yeah, and did lots of cool things. I mean, well, you talked a little bit about a lot of the things you did, kind
Yeah.
of all aspects of volunteering, right? So pretty much a little of everything and a lot of some things. Yeah,
Yeah. I did. I did so many weird things. Yeah.
right. So okay, so the people we've got just in our live stream right now, by the way, we've got Shere Khan, who has come to volunteer in Ukraine a few times, at least, maybe more than that. Anna, who, as I recall, was originally from Ukraine, now lives in the United States. Belle, who actually is helping out with our donation raffle for a drone. She painted a painting, and so whoever and so that's part of the drone raffle awards. It's a really cool painting with like a trident impaling Russian flag, all these sorts of things. We have Viper, we have Mr. Squiggle. These are the regulars. All the good ones. They're all here. And blonde bombsheller, I saw people were joining like 20 minutes ago. So
wow. Cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's a good group. So Emily, tell me, so like, where are you from? And what do you do?
I'm from Denmark. I am from Denmark.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I'm Scandinavian. I'm mixed, so I'm also African. That's fun. But based in Denmark. Currently home. And the reason I can go on and talk about some of the subjects we might be talking about is because I'm no longer on ground, unfortunately. I've not been doing this ever. No live anything I've ever done on a camera is something I've posted myself.
Yeah, so go easy on her, guys.
Yeah. But I never speak with press on the subject of Ukraine, so
well, luckily I'm actually not press, thank God.
For the
record. Think of us as, as a group of fellow volunteers. Really. Tridents Against Tyrants just put in $1.99 for a microphone. Thank you. Thank you, Tridents Against Tyrants. I do appreciate that.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Tridents Against Tyrants has his own live stream.
I think I've heard of that little sentence right there.
Yep.
Something I've heard before.
Yeah, he does fundraising.
Oh, great. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So what? So you're in Denmark now, then?
Yeah, I am.
I'm dying of envy. Actually, I've always wanted to go to Denmark, and
yeah, it's a nice place to visit, and it's also nice to live here.
Damn.
When it's not raining. Okay. So what do I do? Currently, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not studying. I'm not working. The time I did in Ukraine, when I got home, I needed time to recover.
Yeah.
And when I say, if you ever, like, depending on what you're going to do, but specifically if you're going to fight or if you're going frontline anything, you will when you get home, you will come home with something that you need to process through.
For sure.
Depending on how long you've been there and all. And it's something I highlight a lot when I talk to people that are looking to go over and fight, and with people that are currently on ground, because there's no way you're not coming home with something. But it's not like it's permanent. It doesn't have to be. It depends. I can't say.
You mean like mentally, emotionally?
Yeah, and it's not only that. It's going from non-civilian life to a civilian life. It's that transition that's hard.
Yeah.
and a lot of, and when you're on ground, when you're there, you tend to think you're okay. But when you do let it go and you go home to get back to real life, you will figure out that you're not as okay as you thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not only me. I'm not saying this only of own experience. I'm saying this from all the people I was working with from the beginning of the war till now, until like even half a year ago. They, we're all in the same boat. So I think it's common.
Yeah. No, you are not the only volunteer or soldier to have told me that.
Yeah. There are people who were working with me on the border for a few weeks in the start of all this, and they are also having some sort of issue.
Just after that amount of time.
Yeah, but working with refugees in the beginning was one of the hardest things I've done.
Really?
Yes.
Why? What made it difficult?
Well, I started at a refugee camp. I went in. So my whole story starts with a 2-day commitment.
2 days.
I was only supposed to be in Poland for 2 days.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I don't know who said it's not normal at all. I'm curious about what it's specific.
Oh yeah, like transitioning from it's like you think it's normal and then it's not normal.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and so so I went to the refugee camp. It was a mess. There was thousands of people in there.
Wow.
The structures weren't good, and I was supporting the main coordinator from the refugee camp to my country, and I pretty much took over that role. And I started implementing things that made the process better. I came about 2 weeks after the full-scale war broke out, and by that time, people had been sitting in this, which was a Tesco, shopping thing.
Oh, lovely.
They had been sitting, some of them, for like days, if not almost a week, if not more, waiting to figure out how to get to the next destination.
Yeah.
And after 2 days, I got myself into management because of the implementations I did. Keep in mind, I was working 18 hours a day.
Sure.
And I wasn't the only one. And then so I basically made it into people staying for days till like people got in, stayed for a maximum of 24 hours before they were on a bus somewhere else.
To somewhere. Yeah.
To wherever they needed to go. It could be Denmark. It could be France. Whoever took refugees, and most of them knew where they were going. They just needed the transport. And then the UK opened up for refugees, so I helped them implement, everything, like in the refugee camp, not governmental.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still not really opened up in the UK to refugees. Unfortunately, it's kind of
things have changed since then.
Yeah.
They opened up for refugees. There were a lot of it was very hard to get there.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what the situation is. This is the worst organizing I've seen. But hey, how do you set up a refugee camp within a 1 day notice, right?
Right.
And so there were thousands of people coming in on a daily basis and thousands of people going out. There was a lot of trafficking issues. That was the hard part. So yeah.
Really? How did that happen? How did that occur?
Well, at that time,
how did you know about
anyone could go and pick up refugees saying, I'll drive you to your destination. And so we were aware of traffickers, and we did take means to change that. And there was a time where there was a woman and her son who they disappeared when I was, trying to get them to their bus. And so we did look for them, and people had seen them get in a car with 2 specific men that was already wanted for the trafficking.
Wow.
Yeah. And that broke my heart. That's something I will never forget. One thing is knowing that trafficking happens. Another thing is knowing who it happens to.
And when it practically happens right under your nose, holy shit.
Yeah. We could be walking groups of people to the bus, and you could watch men approach, getting closer and closer to a line of people. And we could immediately spot that they were most likely traffickers. They'd get real close and start talking to people. And so I had a team I worked with. When we needed to get from A to B to get them on a bus, we were multiple people getting these people to their buses. And that's why we were working 18 hours a day. There was no time to rest. And a lot of us, like, we'd work multiple days like that, and then we'd need a day off to just sleep.
Yeah.
And
it's shocking that, you know, in the middle of this war with all these emergencies, and it's like the refugee situation wasn't prepared, but the traffickers, they were ready. They were very
showing
clearly
up.
They were on it like white on rice, apparently.
This war this conflict war, everything about it really gathered a lot of crazy people. I'm not even gonna get into the Rambos coming over.
The what?
Rambos, that's what we call the people that are like pretending to be like the big shot.
Sure.
I had a guy show up at the border and be like, "Don't worry about the air raids. If there's a missile coming in," oh my god, my dog, sorry. If there's a missile coming in, I'll push a button and we're safe. And I'm like, bro, get out of my face. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, I've encountered even in the Legion, you know, they try to filter people out, but yeah, there were some people who are just kind of like, they have their fantasy in their head of who they are, or they're just pathological liars, and they live on like people believing in their crazy lies, and I saw it, sadly, you know, people divorced from reality.
It is true. I want to comment on something actually that's been mentioned here, and that's about the group of ex-special forces who hunted down traffickers.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've heard about this too. And to be fair, we when I left the refugee camp, I wasn't there for long, by the way. When I did leave the place, because now I felt like I implemented my ways to a lot of different coordinators, wasn't really a big need for me anymore. So I moved on to other things. After my time, there was a group that was setting up anti-trafficking initiatives. I know one of the guys that was in it is by chance someone I recruited later on for something else. Evie, stop. So there was an initiative where people were protecting refugees and preventing trafficking happening. I don't know the details. I don't know if they
maybe it's best we don't know. Yeah. But I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that, you know, it's crazy times, Wild West though, man. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's how I got into it. There's a lot to that story.
Yeah, so you went from, and we can go back to it for sure. But just as an outline, so you went from there to what was your next 2 days? 2 days turns into how long? 2 weeks or
no, my whole timeline is 14 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really leave after that. Well, so I went into Ukraine after about 2 weeks.
Okay.
I was I relocated to Ukraine after a few weeks because I did, after a week or something, I did supply runs to Lviv.
Okay, sure.
I got into that.
You're slowly being drawn in slowly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Interesting.
The thing is, once you go there, there's no such thing as I'm just gonna go for 2 days. We were so many who thought we were just gonna show up for a day or so, maybe a week, just help out. No. There is so much need for help at that time in the beginning, right? Yeah. No one could turn away, and like no one wanted to go home. Right. The things we saw, the stories we heard, everything, it was awful, and we couldn't just leave them. Oh, are you talking about my dog?
Yeah. Blonde Bombsheller says she has a real life fella. It's a name.
He's so cute. She always wants to be in the picture.
Of course.
Yeah.
Blonde Bombsheller, by the way, is an animal trainer. So
cool.
That's why I outed you. Sorry. Blonde bombsheller. Sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah.
Well, so there was a thing that went down on the refugee camp. I've never really publicly spoken about it, because at that time I did not wanna. It's about corruption, and I didn't want to accidentally. Evie, stop! I didn't want to get your toy. I didn't want to accidentally put. Grade. I didn't accidentally. Evie, take your toy. Okay. I didn't accidentally want to put bad words into the refugee camp, because that could hurt the refugees.
Sure.
But there was a lot of. She's a Shiba Inu. I'm just responding to the comment. There was a lot of donated supplies that were donated and delivered to the refugee camp that was supposed to go into Ukraine to specific people.
Right. And what happened to it?
Well, I had people, volunteers too, that were working at two different warehouses that was a part of the refugee camp. One of the warehouses were what was donated and used on the refugee camp for the refugees. The other one was sealed with, destinations and organizations and all that on pallets. This is the biggest warehouse I've ever seen, but I'm not usually seeing warehouses.
Where it's not something you see regularly, sure.
Yeah. So then one day, a guy from an orphanage comes. He was from Lviv, and he comes to our refugee camp. I accidentally bump into him. I'm, working on ground in the refugee camp. And so I take him to where yes, this was in Poland. I'm taking him to where the responsible people, the management office was, and then that's it. But we did fall into talk, and I gave him, we gave each other's contacts. Mm-hmm. Then the day after, there's a situation where people in the refugee camp are talking about him. He came with a truck, and he didn't get the supplies he was promised. That was the word. When I was in every morning I was in the management meetings, and we were told a few days after that there was a misunderstanding, and now he has his supplies. But I had his contact, and I checked up, and he didn't have his supplies.
Wow! So
yeah.
Oh wow!
That made me and a few of my trusted people on TV. That made me and a few trusted people in the refugee camp get into it.
Yeah.
Not because we wanted to out anyone, but because we wanted to solve the problem.
Yeah.
And then we one of our guys who were working in the warehouse, he walked in and he started asking questions to the person who was responsible for the warehouse. He was like pointing out, and he's filming this, by the way. He's pointing out a specific pallet, saying it's been there for weeks and there's a date on it of delivery. And he's been he's been in that refugee camp for weeks, right? And then, the guy, he didn't answer the questions. He was not answering why it wasn't being sent out.
Wow.
And we thought it could be like protocols. It could be like paperwork. I don't know.
Sure.
But then the day after, that warehouse was shut down for all volunteers. We weren't allowed to go in anymore. We weren't allowed to help anymore. And yeah, this was really big. And then my guys and I, we were like, what is going on? God. One of our guys, he was staying in a tent outside of the refugee camp, and at night there were trucks coming in, taking out supplies from the and this is after it was shut down, right? Taking the supplies into these trucks and driving off. Not necessarily a bad thing, because we were thinking, oh, it's going out to the people. I'm not sure it was, to be honest. There was so many. We started looking into it. There were so many people that were promised supplies that had been delivered to Tesco, and then were supposed to get sent out, and they didn't get it. This became an issue to us. Did we want to talk to higher ups or anyone about it? Media? No. Yeah. That would hurt the refugees in the end if they were going to shut down the only functioning refugee camp on that border
Holy
line.
Shit. And this was in Poland, yeah?
Who was the guy organization, if you can say, another book to be written? The guy, well, he was from an orphanage, and I don't know, I don't know his contact anymore.
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and so here's what happened. We were still working at the refugee camp on and off, and we started gathering supplies on the refugee camp. So when people drove in to deliver supplies, because they did that too randomly, people would drive from the UK with a van full of supplies and all that.
Sure.
We'd stop them and we'd tell them that there are things we can't account for, not necessarily because we know it's bad, but we want to deliver it ourselves to the people that need it. So if you don't,
that's the thing. A lot of people, that's what I've started doing, for this exact reason.
Yeah. So a few weeks in, one of my guys and I, we did our first supply run to Lviv, to an organization there. That was intense because we didn't have a van, and we had the supplies, and so we ended up driving with a stranger, a Ukrainian, and he takes us across the border and all that, through the checkpoints and all that. At some point we're like off route, and it's evening, guys, it's dark, and all of a sudden we're going into the forest, not on route. And so him and I were like, and he had taken out a big amount of cash and given to a police officer, and we don't know anything like how things work, so we got nervous. Yeah. And then I asked him, we speak the same language, so I asked him, do you still have the knife on you? Because I was thinking, we're about to go into the woods, we're off route, we can see that on maps. This is like, and we just took a chance with a stranger, like, first lesson to be learned if we live to tell.
Yeah.
Well, he stops at a little house in the middle of this forest, and he tells us to go out. He doesn't speak well English, so he's like, out. And we're like, okay.
Wow, this sounds totally legit to me.
Yeah. Well,
Perfectly
so we walk
fine.
into the house, and
no red flags.
It turns out it was just a quick stop because his wife and kids were home, and they had cookies for us, and they were so happy we were helping.
Oh my God. I literally thought you were going to say you got kidnapped or something. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we thought so too. So yeah, good story. It was the first run, and that was the beginning of us doing supply runs. It doesn't take long before a lot of people are doing these supply runs.
Yeah.
We are a group of 30 people running this from the refugee camp. And we had our own warehouse at some point, and we had a lot of stuff. We became really popular really quick, and a lot of people did the same. Then there's a time where we realize everything is just in the West. Everything gets delivered to Lviv. And there's not a lot that goes further from that at this point.
That's the huge problem. Or it was at least. I don't know.
It's needed in the East, guys. At this point, it's needed in the East. Even in Kyiv, it was needed because not a long time after, Kyiv was, taken over. So yeah, we started doing supply runs to the East. We were one of the few I'm aware of from that time who started pretty early on doing risky supply runs. And we learned through the way, and after a few months, all of a sudden we had we had pretty special documents that got us through checkpoints, even after curfew and all that. It was pretty much it was stamped by the High Commissioner, so we were like, you just go through. Yeah. Like we could literally move anything. So yeah, we gained a lot of contacts. We did a lot of good things, and we were not the only one, but we were some of the first that did take higher risks. Because in the beginning, nobody really knew what's happening, what's
what
safe
was
and all
needed.
that.
Yeah.
And then we stopped supplying anything but really important things. So we started supplying gear, and only gear and medical, to front lines and to soldiers and all of this, and organizations in the East that delivered to soldiers too. So we always took a step further once everybody did the same, because there was always new needs we discovered. Yeah, so now we're a few months in. I've had my first real team, and we're doing supply runs and all that. What are the most important medical items needed? That's hard to say, guys, but tourniquets.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody says tourniquets is number one.
And it really is. It's the number one thing that saves your life.
Yeah.
A tourniquet. And please do not get the cheap knockoffs. Get something that's COTC approved before the war, because now there's issues with COTC approval. Yeah, apparently you can pay yourself to an approval. I've heard. I'm not sure.
Oh.
These are rumors. But there are some things now that are approved that I'm questioning. The quality of. And chest seals are important too. They're really hard to get. Medicine.
Every IFAC should have at least 2 or 3 chest seals.
Well, you should always have double. So there's no point in having 1. You should have 2. There's no point in having 3. Then you should have 4, because you do use 2 if there's an exit wound. Yeah. Well, yeah. Cats and Dnipro 2. The 2nd edition, not the 1st.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you said that, because those are the ones I've been buying.
Oh, yeah.
The Dnipro 2s.
So everybody, people really wrote Dnipro tourniquets off in the beginning because they weren't high quality.
Right.
Guys, they didn't know, and it wasn't pushed out enough. But Dnipro 1, like the 1st edition, was only meant for training. They were meant for training.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the 2nd edition came out, they are legit, guys. Don't not use them. Use them. They're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
I delivered like 20 of them last week. So
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, Cheryl has a question. What's better, vented or unvented chest seals?
Vented are always better, but anything can be used. So the difference between vented and non-vented is that when you do put on a chest seal on someone, there is a thing that can happen, which is like air can get in, but it can't get out again, guys. So at some point, there's something happening called a tension pneumothorax, and that means your lung will pretty much collapse. The way you deal with that is to release the pressure of the chest, and you can do that with a chest seal by just taking it off quickly and on again. You don't have to do that with a vented. You can still,
okay,
and you can still pretty much get a tension pneumothorax, although you have a vented chest seal. You can also still have it if you do the burp, which is like when you open it and close it again.
But having a vented one would really save my chest hair. So
it's funny. No. Yes, it would. Yeah. I don't think you're thinking about that if you're sharing in the chest pneumothorax. Guys, the burp method might not help, but then there's a thing called a needle D, or we call it a needle D. It's an NCD. It's a needle decompression device. It's a little needle we put in between the ribs on a chest, just to keep it very simple. To release, and it has a little tube, and then you release the pressure. That's what you do
on the side, in through the side, right? Like over.
Yeah, a specific place. So don't just fool around with it if you're not trained.
By the way, guys, this is not medical advice. Please do not start sticking needles in people's sides. Wait until you've actually gone through some actual training. But yes, in your training, you should learn that.
Take your toy, please.
Oh, Dick Dawson, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming. I'm sorry I haven't been saying hello to everybody because I've been so interested in what Emily's been saying here. But thank you, Dr. Dick. He runs another live stream much better than mine called the Shills. Dick, I was thinking if you're doing a show tonight, I might join you. I'll try to stay up if you're still open to that.
That's fun. I want to watch it.
Yeah. It's an interesting show. Sometimes they have like Operator Starsky come on, or they had Jake Broe, I think, this past week. I don't know if you know those people, but they're like big on YouTube.
I saw a name. Somebody put a name in here of someone who's in here or something, and I knew that name.
Oh, really?
Somebody that recommended it. Sorry, never mind. I missed it.
Yeah. People
Brandon
are like,
Mitchell is somebody I'm aware of. Who is?
Shere Khan. People are asking about like what's needed. Like Shere Khan happens to be one of the people who comes here pretty regularly, and he was asking about litters.
Yes. Yeah, get litters, but get specific types, guys. Yeah, if you have questions about that, I think you should you should get my contact. I'm I'm not only a combat medic. Well, I am, but I didn't only work as that. I've also been instructing. I'm not a certified instructor, but I'm apparently good at it, so I kept it going for a bit. And I did train a few Ukrainian units and so on. Guys, getting how can I say this? It's honorable to get gear and all that to whoever needs it, but if you can get advice on specifically what to get, it's really good. I mostly can give advice on anything within my level. So yeah,
that might be something.
Combat
That
medicine.
might be something. Yeah, Shirkan, you're. I'm way ahead of you, my man. Shirkan just said she sounds perfect for your project, James. Yeah. So yeah.
Is that the project you told me about?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
yes.
let's save that for the end, maybe, or something.
Yeah, let's do
but
that.
yeah, so I want to get a sense from you a little bit more about your story, because so you started doing these supply runs, go into Donetsk or whatever, and how did you transition? Did you have training before you started doing combat medic work? Did you have any sort of medical training?
So there's a reason why I got into medical. I delivered a lot of high I don't know what you call it. I delivered a lot of meds that are very specific. I ended up delivering insulin, morphine, fentanyl, ketamine, a lot of other things.
Wow, sounds like a fun party.
To be honest, I kind of delivered insulin and a few other things before it, like in the beginning of the war, before it was like something you could do without prescription. So I kind of smuggled it in.
I see. Yeah, well,
fun way to do it. I'll tell more about that another time.
Yeah.
It was very simple. I walked it over through the borders. Yeah. But then I had to get to know these meds because I did not want them to fall into the wrong people's hands. Sure. I needed to be very sure that the people I was giving it to knew how to use it, or like specifically who was going to.
Yeah, otherwise you could be doing more harm than good, yeah?
Yeah, and yeah, insulin is like, you use it for diabetics and so on. You can also use it for other things, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah, by the way, some people, we have people from all sorts of different countries in here, sometimes like from Romania or different. I think Manu's from Italy, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so it's the needle thing you use on people with who's diabetic.
I have a diabetic here in the house, my wife's mother, and so she has to keep it.
Yeah, I get that. And it was a big need in the beginning of the war, to be honest, especially in the East.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so I started delivering meds, all kinds of meds that are, hard to get. I had resources for that at that time. I don't anymore. Things are harder now, guys. Yeah, so at some point, I was done with my first team. I left them. I told you the story about that. It was dramatic. I left them with everything I had, all my gear, all my my house, the vehicles, my contacts, everything. And I'm not gonna get into the drama right now, guys, because we're having such a good conversation.
Yeah. But suffice it to say, you moved on.
Yes, but they weren't nice when I did that because I was the one funding us.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, so I ended up working with another organization. No, I didn't. I was independent, but I had other organizations that helped me out. They knew me. At some point, I was staying in Kyiv with an organization, and something happens that night. Kyiv is attacked, which is normal, but in our area, which I hadn't experienced like that. I've already had a dramatic day, another day in Lviv. No, in the outskirts of Lviv. It's another story, guys. Fighter jets, fun. Yeah. So I wake up in Kyiv to the sound of something I think is thunder when I wake up. But then we hear the second boom pretty close. And so, yeah, these are air attacks, missiles, all that. And I get up out of bed because I can hear the others in the group walk around outside. Someone is freaking out. And I'm like, okay, I led a team. I know what to do. I go out and ask guys, where's the shelter? Where's the basement? Where's the, if we need it. vet medicine as well. Yeah,
Oh,
that too. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that too. Okay, so no one knew where any shelters were, where any basements were, where any these guys owned the building, okay? So I
Holy
was like, quickly I got a hold on a map to show every open public place to go. Like hotels usually had their
seriously.
basements
I mean,
open.
literally almost any building in
Hmm.
Ukraine, especially in cities, has some kind of a basement. That doesn't mean
Yeah,
they're always open or
exactly.
in a condition that you actually want to go down there, but they do exist. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And so I prepared a plan. I was like, guys, if we need to get the fuck out, this is where we go. I told them there's this place, 1 minute walk, so we're gonna run and then we're there quickly if we need it. But usually we don't really care. At some point, it gets to there's the fourth impact that day. And this time, it hit something near us, well, about a kilometer away. And I'm in different networks at that time, and somebody posts what was hit, and it was a kindergarten, and I'm 1 kilometer away.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we were in the same area, me and that contact, and I went like, I don't know, my mind shut down, and I went out in the street.
Sure.
I saw the smoke. I did take a picture of the smoke because I was like, that's pretty, and then I realized, fuck, kindergarten.
Yeah.
And so I run towards the kindergarten, and about halfway, I come back to rational thoughts, and I'm like, I have no skills that's gonna be beneficial here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the way.
Yeah, and it could be a double tap, you know.
Oh yeah, like if you're gonna do first respond, that's something that's part of the job. That's part of the risk.
Right.
It's like being on the front line, and you're like saying maybe we'll get hit by long range artillery, right? If you're a first responder, you do the job even though there's a risk. But that's the day I decided I wanted to do a medical training because I needed skills to be able to respond in such a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did my CLS training at first, and I was theoretically really good at it. Practically, it was a bit of a struggle for me when we did our last simulation.
Yeah.
I had never heard the sound of gunfire, guys.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I deal with
of course,
anxiety.
being from Denmark, you guys aren't. You're not famous.
No guns
like
here.
It's not like it's Texas or something, you know.
No, I didn't know there would be like live fire during the simulation. So when I did the simulation, that sound, adrenaline is something, guys. You can train to be prepared and all that, and how to think and do things in that situation. But I didn't have military experience, guys. I hadn't even held the weapon at that point, right? So yeah, that was the first training I did. I only did it so that I could use it if I needed to. Yeah, and then later on, a few months later, I joined a team. Bam bam. A military team. I joined a military team. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So because of your medical training, you got on the military team. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I did. We're like a few months after I did my training and all.
I was gonna say, how far into the war was this?
This must be. I'm still struggling to remember exact timelines, but I think I'm like. This sounds like I'm a few years in. I think I'm 6 months in. It was summertime.
Okay. Time sort of flows, I know, in these situations. So
no, I was 7 months in. Never mind. Potato, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I joined them. We do some trainings and all that. We're waiting for contracts. It's a mess, guys. It's a mess.
So this wasn't like Hospitalers or one of those groups.
This is a military. This is a legit military team. But we weren't like normal. We were part of International Legion, but we weren't a regular thing. Technically we were supposed to be an independent unit with main response to the Legion, because you need to have a main response somewhere.
You gotta have something.
You can't just.
So you didn't go through their like training.
No.
Or they didn't really have training at that time, but they're.
Oh, they did. They did the 2-week training thing.
Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah, they did.
Amazing.
Yeah, so we weren't a part of the normal recruitment. We weren't a part of anything normal in the Legion. We weren't a part of like anything.
Oh yeah, Cheryl.
Oh, fun. Yeah, sorry, I just read the thing about being surprised by what gunfire sounds like. Yeah, guys, I've seen it on video too. It's not the same as real life. It's crazy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I joined them. We do some trainings. I learn a lot, to be honest. We do not. These aren't official trainings. We trained each other.
Sure.
Yeah, because we were waiting for months for contracts. At some point, the guys needed to go. They needed to go east, backyard off the front lines to just get our contracts, guys. This is how messy the system was back then.
Yeah, yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, this was crazy. That was when I started working. That's okay. That's when I started working directly with military. Yeah.
It's so funny. You went from never hearing gunfire before to I'm gonna join a military unit.
Yeah, I did. I was going as a medic, but obviously you can't just be a combat medic is a medic, but they're a soldier first. Like normally,
absolutely.
right?
That's right.
Yeah, we were a specific type of team, and so we would have other types of jobs than what normal units did, I guess. Long story short, I don't end up going with them in the end. Yeah.
But you got a lot of training in.
Oh yeah, I did.
Interesting that they needed so many people, but there wasn't enough organization to get.
Oh, the guys went. They did all. This team did all the things they were supposed to do.
I see. Yeah.
I didn't end up going with them because of my I had a court date.
Oh.
Yeah, nothing illegal, anything, but I did have to show up in court here
in Denmark.
Yes.
Oh.
And my visa was expired, guys.
Oh shit! Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, there are several people in this group here who have had to leave and come back because of visa issues and that sort of thing. And I actually know a guy who is serving right now, who's the first person I met in the Legion, who. The first thing he said, one of the first things he said to me was like, "Yo, he was from London or from Peterborough, from UK." He was like, "Yeah, I think I got a court date coming up." Anyway, so anyway, that's how he talks. So he had to go back. Sorry, he might be watching. So, but he had to go back and deal with all of his court stuff, and then he came back, and now he's out, serving in the field. So. But a couple of people had questions here. Ronnie said, is there a need for blood donations, or is that taken care of?
I do need to check up on something about that. So blood donations has been up and down, guys. It's been complicated. Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes only Ukrainian citizens can do it. Sometimes everyone can do it. It's an up and down thing. And the reason is because the loss of blood transfusions there is pretty weird.
I was about to say there's a lot. It's really stupid. There's a bunch of bureaucracy. They're trying to change it now. They're starting to have blood drives and stuff. But there's a bunch of bureaucracy and superstition, frankly. And
oh yeah. So yeah, you can donate blood most of the time, but you have to be in grant to do that, obviously.
And then the other question here was, how much combat training did you receive?
How much? Well, with that team, not a lot, guys. Not a lot. Not barely anything. Part of my training as a combat medic has a slight bit of combat training in it, because we do train like medical in combat scenarios. I don't have a lot of combat training, guys. I don't. Especially at that point. Later on, I get training. Let's call that. I learn during.
OJT, on the job training.
Kind of, yeah. At the end of my, and so, what else can I say about the combat thing? Right, I had an initiative, Met Ukraine.
Yeah. When did that start? When did you get going with that?
Met Ukraine started what year was that? What year are we in now? We're in 24, right? That was last year. That was 23, in the beginning of 23. So we started the initiative in December before the year, so December 22. And then we spent a few months recruiting, and then we do the trainings. So Med Ukraine was teaching international people that wanted to go over and fight. Mainly we wanted them to become combat medics because there was a big need of medics, and we had
always
contacts we had contacts in really good units, and we wanted them to go to those units because getting into a not so good unit, guys, there's a really big difference on units, guys. There are units where you want to be and units where it's like I wouldn't even touch them, and I'm sorry, but that's a structural thing and a commandment thing, and it is how it is. I'm not gonna say we shouldn't go over and fight for Ukraine. I'm never gonna say that. I think we all should. You know? Okay, not literally, but there are better places to be than others, and it will probably be that anywhere.
No, and that every guy I know who has told me this one's bad, this one's good, this one, and some guys jump, but some people they've jumped so many times you start to think maybe the problem is not the unit. Maybe the problem.
Oh yeah, I get that. I want to answer on a question here on if I think there would be benefits for more combat training for medics. This is not a yes or no answer, so I'm going to give the answer. Right. When we speak medics, this is why I hate when people are like, I'm a medic in Ukraine. I'm like, okay, what are you? And they're like, I'm a medic. I'm like, no, you're something specific, guys. There's a big difference between being an EMT and being a combat medic. If you come as an EMT and expect to do combat medic work, I'm gonna if I had the decision making, I'd tell you to go do some combat medic training. You can't necessarily go in as an EMT and then be a combat medic. You can maybe get the job, you can maybe be on the front lines, and you can maybe have that responsibility, but can you actually be a combat medic without combat medic training? I don't think so. Can you teach it? No. So and sorry guys, but I've been teaching. I'm not an instructor. I don't think I'm bad at teaching because I take standards really seriously and I take every detail very seriously. And I know the difference between important and most important, because everything is important. I admire people that do train combat medicine, whether they're EMTs or combat medics or anything, like whatever they are, because you got to play with the cards that's on your hand. But if we could really differentiate some of the words that are being used, if we could really level up that, like, not everyone should be able to teach. And sometimes it's not better to just have someone teach rather than having the right person to teach. And there's not enough teachers over there. Yeah, that's the only reason why I've been teaching. Because I do think I can do a good job with teaching. I always teach a level lower than my own. Yeah. So the question about medics, if they should, I went off board, sorry. The question, yes, medics should get combat training if they're going to do combat medic work. If you are on the front line, if you're gonna carry a weapon, training. And evacuations, like CASEVAC, when you do, like when you, Evie, ugh. She's so noisy, right? If you do CASEVAC, if you are going to evacuate soldiers from the front lines, from the meeting points, all that, pickup points, sorry, then there are two different types. There are initiatives who do it and has gotten permission to do it, but they don't carry weapons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's like hospitalers, yeah? Would
Yeah.
that be one? Yeah, okay.
Then there's those that are doing it with weapons.
Okay.
Me personally, I would not want to do CASEVAC in a combat zone or, anything that can become a combat zone pretty quickly if I don't have a weapon on me.
Yeah. Seriously, not in this war, anyway. You know?
So it's there's yes and no. This is complicated, guys. It depends on the job. Medics should have combat experience if they're going to be in combat scenarios.
Yeah.
Or not experience, sorry, training, but also experience, right?
Well, yeah, ultimately, yeah. So let's going back to like so you were you said you did eventually get out there and were got that combat experience. How did you get to that point?
Well, I did. I'm not gonna say I got like combat experience.
Okay,
I don't know when you can actually say that.
Yeah, it's sort of a gray, blurry area out there.
Yeah. I'm not like, because if I said I have combat experience, people would think I've been on the front lines in a trench fighting or assaulting and all those things. There's so much more to the word.
Right. The front line is there's the zero line, and then there's this whole area kilometers back. That
there are 4 lines, and normally. Right, normally you have line 0. I've never been there. I'm not going there. Sorry, it's not for me, and I shouldn't be there. I'd be a liability. And then you have all the way back to 3rd line. That's what's considered front lines. A lot of people goes to a hot zone area and then I've been to the front lines. No, you haven't. And depending on what area and what front line it is, you need security clearance to even get to that line.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
My my wife was freaking out because I went to Sloviansk 2 weeks ago. A week ago, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're going to the front lines." I'm like, "No, I'm going to like the back." Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, oh shit, guys! Saying backyard of front lines, it's not the front line, but it's still a shitty place to be. I'm sorry, it's dangerous. Like, it's I don't know. The backyard of the front lines is not a joke, guys. It's not like you're just in Poltava. Like I've not been there for a long time, so I don't know what Poltava's like now. But yeah,
actually, I went through there last week. It was nice. It was really nice.
Nice. That's usually where when we did East supply runs or missions.
Yeah, there was a lot
Poltava
of military coming through there.
Gear.
Yeah, it was obviously a staging area. I only stopped to pee, to be honest with you.
We stopped to put on gear. That's where we decided we're putting on gear because we're not going to stop a random place and put it on when it's needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Shere Khan had a question here, and I think I probably know the answer to this one. But are there any gaps? Yeah.
In moving wounded ATP gaps.
Yeah, I suppose more specifically, like, where are the gaps? Because you've got the 0 line, and then you've got the next line back, and then there's.
Let me explain some of that.
Yeah.
Right. Let me explain about evacuations. Yay.
Yeah, please.
I'm not going to go into too many details, and this is not all the information you'd need to do any of those things. You need a lot more information, right? And things change all the time. So there are different levels of care or lines of care. It depends on what standard you're using. First line of care is first responding, right? It's when it happens. These are whoever's around you. This is when your IFAC is gonna be used. So if a soldier is down, injured, etc., it's his comrades or the medic of the team or whoever's nearby that treats him.
Right.
It's first line of care.
After you have fire superiority, right?
Yeah, so there are different phases of combat medicine, and so first phase is care under fire, and there are things you need to know how to do in care under fire, and what you should be treating in care under fire, which is essentially only massive bleeding. So care under fire, you need fire superiority. Oh, and this is just the protocol, guys. There are scenario-based things too. So I'll get back to the question about Red Cross. I have a thing to say about that.
We'll burn that bridge when we come to it, huh?
Yeah. Okay, so care under fire. Ideally, yes, you need to eliminate the threat of more people getting injured. So you can't just run directly to the injured person if there's hostile fire. So ideally, you'd need fire superiority in that scenario. And when that's done, you should then one guy or whatever can go in and use a tourniquet if there's a massive bleeding. Usually there's other steps in this too, guys, but I'm not going to teach you the whole protocol. You need to figure out if the injured person can self-apply tourniquets, right? Self-help. And so that's also why when I see people train with tourniquets and I see them do it wrong, I correct them. Because you're not only supposed to be able to put a tourniquet on right. It's not only supposed to sit on right and stop the bleed. You're supposed to eliminate further injuries. And I see a lot of people when I throw a tourniquet at them and I'm like, left arm. And, they get on the ground and then they lift up their arm and put the tourniquet on. And I'm like, there's no way you're going to do that when your arm is shut. You're going to have to adapt to the fact that your arm is no longer usable.
We had to, when we were doing it, we had to lay on the ground and we couldn't, if it's your right arm, you could not move your right arm.
Exactly.
Right.
You won't be able to.
Like it did. And and so that's what we would have to do. We practice that over and over and over again, laying on the ground, and then switch arms and do it to the other side. And if we accidentally lifted up our arm, the trainer would come around and go, "Hey, what are you doing there?"
And you're not lifting up. You're not sitting up, guys. You're not going to sit up. If it's your leg, you're not going to sit up either. And there's two reasons for that. One, you don't want your head to get shot. Two, getting shot in the thigh, there's a chance of having a broken femur. I don't know how you say it. Like your thigh bone. If you sit up and you get close to that bone, like guys. Broken bones are not a straight cut. This is sharp shit. It's gonna cut you. And keep in mind, you have things here in that area that can, make mass bleeds. And when you get shot in the leg, it doesn't necessarily have to be a massive bleeding. It doesn't. But you're still putting on that tourniquet because you can't determine that once you see the blood. You can also, if you get too close, accidentally wound yourself other places with that bone. This is something that can happen, guys. It's not necessarily happening. I don't know what meant by tourniquets can kill, but yeah. So you
if you put them on your neck, for instance. No, I'm kidding.
There's actually someone who, there's one person who survived because she did use a tourniquet on her neck.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
That's something we used to joke about. Come on.
No, it's true. Guys, this is not a myth. She got shot in the neck. There's a few things you can do if you get shot in the neck and you have a massive bleeding, right? You can survive that. Usually not with a tourniquet, but she did use a tourniquet. She used a tourniquet, guys, and she choked. But the time of bleeding out is way less than the time of dying from choking. You can and resurrection is a thing,
Sure, I suppose.
You can use an AED and all that.
Yeah.
She was down for too long.
Some people are into being choked too, so.
Right. So she has brain damage to this day, because of the time she was without
blood to her brain.
To a brain, yeah. So.
Wow.
And this is what people. This is actually also a part of first aid training. Like, why do we do the what's the word? Like when you do the thing. I don't know the English word for it. When you pump the heart.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
CPR.
Yeah, CPR. Thanks. When you do that, you don't do these movements to make them breathe again. You don't do it to like make the heart start again necessarily. You do it to make sure that oxygen flows in the blood to your brain. And so after a specific time, you are no longer like you need to have oxygen to your brain. Otherwise you get brain damaged or die. So not only is your heart stop, you also need to make sure you're not, ending up not being able to do anything because you have a brain damage.
A couple of people just made some comments here. Maybe you can comment on. Like Ronnie said, tourniquet has to be loosened after certain minutes and tightened again if you are not retrieved quickly. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
so we're talking about. I think we're talking about maybe like moving tourniquets, right? But that needs to be done by a specialist, is my understanding.
Right. Once you put a tourniquet on, you're not loosening it. guys. You're not, unless you're doing a conversion.
A conversion, yes. So
yes, and it's not after minutes.
Yeah.
Guys, the
Hours.
reason we put when you put a tourniquet on, it's very important you timed it. You put the time you put it on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are things that matters for the next level of care.
Yeah.
You can have we used to say after 2 hours a tourniquet should no longer be on a person. No, scratch that. After 8 hours, there might be issues that cannot be be fixed. Yeah.
You mean okay? Because
Yeah.
so I know that that there's some people have said, okay, if you have your tourniquet on for more than 2 hours, you're losing that leg or something like that.
No, after 2 hours, your cells are gonna start having
Poison
issues.
builds up in the cells. Yeah.
Yes, and so after 2 hours, you can't just loosen it and then because there's a lot of things to it. So after 2 hours, a conversion would be ideal. And also, this is like high level stuff, guys.
Sure. Yeah, this is like a 2-week-long training course type stuff. Yeah.
Wait, somebody's mentioning
crush syndrome.
No, PTSD. We can switch the topic.
Oh,
if you want to
sure.
stay,
UTV
we can
and
get
ham.
out of this topic. I'm sorry.
Understood.
There should be trigger warnings.
Understood. That's true. Yeah. Fair enough.
I'm sorry. I don't want anybody to not be able to be here because of the topic, although it's relevant.
Yeah. No, it's
so
totally
so you just confirm whether or not you want to leave or stay, please. For the
Yeah. UTV and ham. Pretty awesome dude. He bought the first T-shirt on my fundraising site.
Nice. I don't want to trigger anyone with anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you can all take classes on this if you need this information.
Yeah, and that we may do that. That's something we've talked about. So, but yeah, we have some people with medical experience and things here. I noticed Canti Ludan mentioned crush syndrome. Is crush syndrome like when you love a girl and she doesn't love you back?
No, guys, this is still the same topic. That's crush syndrome. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Guys,
my bad.
I also want to say somebody mentioned something in ICU. Guys, this is why clinical medics cannot teach combat medicine. We don't have the same standards, and there's reasons for that. We don't even have the same equipment. The way we treat attention pneumothorax would never happen in a hospital. Yeah, they do it differently with other things, and in a better way. Combat medics don't do, the ideal treatments. We do short-term solutions. And by the way, back to the topic we were on, the lines.
yeah, we were on that topic.
Okay, so first part of level of care is when it happens. You follow your teammates, whoever's near you, they use your IFAC, or the medic uses their medic bag to do things, right? Then your team or whoever's with you or wherever you are, and especially the first responder is the responsible here, usually by protocol. So they need to get you evacuated from wherever you are. Then you go to a point. I'm not going to give more details in that.
Do they call it like a collection point? Yeah.
Yes, from
casualty collection point. Yeah.
Yes, that's where they go. Once they're there, there's someone there who is triaging, which is a part of combat medicine and a lot of other medicine. And if any first aid, triage is important. And that's basically where we sort out who is red, yellow, green. Usually there's only
So is that the sort of position that you would have been in then?
No.
Okay.
I didn't do triage. Actually, we're gonna skip the questions of what exactly I've been doing on that.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So here, people are getting sorted on who is the first ones to get evacuated.
Of course.
So that's first level. That's second level of care. Then, or part of first level of care, I'd say. Second level of care is the CASEVAC part. These people are picking you up from the collection point and taking you to, yet again, next level of care, which is a field hospital or a hospital, or there can be multiple things in between all that too. So being a medic, guys, is a lot of different things. Yeah, so you know, and structures change all the time, guys, and there's a lot more to it than what I'm explaining. I can't give specifics on this because we're, you know, public.
Sure.
But yeah, so there are multiple levels of care, and whenever we are working in a level of care, whoever we're giving this casualty to is the next level of care. That's how we kind of say it by protocol. Are different medics embedded in places like Krinkian, at least sometimes, is when you know evac won't be possible for days.
Yeah. That's kind of alluding to what Shere Khan was asking about, like where are the gaps? You know, from the zero line to the casualty collection point to the Kazivac to the field hospital. You know, you have
so it's like what could be improved.
Well, yeah, where does it break down in there? You know,
guys, it depends. It first of all depends where you are. First of all, everything changes all the time. There's nothing constant in this scenario. Also because of operational security, everything changes. I can't answer that question, especially because having that answer in a public field can be a bad thing.
Fair enough.
So
fair enough.
What can be improved? A lot of things, mostly everything, guys. Everything changes. All the positions, all the points, everything. This is ongoing constantly. If I told you, which I'm not, but if I told you a specific point and that's a collection point, it might not be in an hour.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing that we always keep hearing is a lack of Kazivac vehicles. You know, that's
yeah, guys. Not everything can be used.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Actually, in Denmark, we have an organization that I've been talking a lot with, and they get cars donated, and they redo them, and then they deliver them to another organization who then sorts them out for military, but whatever they're used for.
Right. Like, have you heard of 69th Sniffing Brigade, for example? They're
well,
yeah, they do that. You know, they're not all Kazivacs, but a lot of them are. You know.
Yeah.
So
there's a big lack of everything at this point, guys. Yeah. Anything important and critical is lacking, especially when it comes to specific types of medical equipment. Yeah. Let me see what there are in the chat. I keep forgetting it.
Sure.
Yes, what could be improved? Let me say it like this. We as volunteers, we as foreigners, we as anything cannot improve anything. We can't do anything about this because this is higher ups decisions. This is not something we decide. This is not something the team decides. It's this is a whole part of like
system.
Yeah, and tactical decisions. It's I can't even give like
in terms of like who gets what vehicle or how many. Yeah, sure.
Getting vehicles is needed. I know units that needs them, and I can if you give a vehicle to me or anybody else, they can specifically decide who gets that.
Yeah,
but if you donate it directly to a big organization or maybe just in general to the military, then we're not the ones deciding where it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you had a story about the Red Cross.
Yeah, let's get back to that. Right, guys. I don't think, I hate saying this, Red Cross does a lot of good things, and they spend a lot of money on not doing good things, and we all know that.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily bad or good? I don't know. But one thing I will say is that Red Cross in general was very late to the scene. At first, there was only Polish Red Cross working on this matter. Makes sense. Or Ukrainian Red Cross. I don't know about them. I don't know if that's even a thing.
Yeah, no, it is. They have it's kind of a separate organization from the International Red Cross. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. So at first, it was only Polish Red Cross working with this scene, and multiple other parts of Red Cross, including the Danish they were in Poland, by the way. They were working with the refugees. They were using Polish Red Cross's pictures, saying Red Cross, like they were just saying, we are doing this, right? And this is to me misleading, because I saw a Danish Red Cross post, we're doing this, and yes, they're under the same umbrella, but it's misleading, because now Danish people, who by the way did raise a lot of money to Red Cross at a big event, Danish Red Cross. People now think that Danish Red Cross is on ground doing things, and they weren't. And a lot of different countries did this.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of big NGOs who on their web pages, boy, they make it look like
they're not on ground, guys. Yeah. They're not doing the work. They're not doing what they should be doing. All of this, and not only that, International Red Cross, they came to Poland about 4th or 5th month into the war and started doing things. And what they started doing was actually take over the work individual volunteers had already started. They just went into Tesco and said, now it's ours. Well, now we're taking this. We got it sorted. We made it happen. We got structure in it. And then they come and say, you're all dismissed. And not only them, they were working with another bigger organization too.
Yeah.
And so we're a lot of people who are on ground who's talking about what Red Cross is doing. A lot of people were making posts like, oh, now they're here finally, and about how they and what they're doing, compared to the media.
Yeah,
it's shocking to me how misleading it can be, because of being part of the same umbrella, right? Any country can say we're doing this, and they are, because they're Red Cross, but we think it's specifically that country's part of Red Cross that are there, and then we send money to them, and there's not enough knowledge on like where exactly this money is being used. I think there needs to be way harder public knowledge on that when you have that amount of money. Are you PSI-ops? Oh, it's not for me. Okay.
I didn't
bit of
see
devil's
it.
advocate. There's a bit of balancing act going on. The West could just step in and take over, but we also need to let Ukraine learn how to deal with these logistic issues.
That's an interesting viewpoint. Canti did volunteer work here in Ukraine as well, and I don't know his whole story yet, but maybe we will. But so that's an interesting viewpoint that but I hadn't thought of it that way, Canti.
To be honest, Red Cross, I mean, they have a lot of power because of, they're well-known, anything, and the Geneva Convention and everything, right? Red Cross holds a lot of power to get things done. People that holds a lot of power takes a lot of money to do the bare minimum.
Sure.
Right? So my advice to anyone I ever hear that wants to donate money, donate directly to those that are actually doing the job.
Exactly.
Those on ground, individuals, minor initiatives. Be careful with who you donate to, because there are a lot of people committing fraud, and it's really awful. So be careful with that. Ideally, depending on what the situation is, don't just send money. If at least not until you understand specifically where to send that money to. Then better just spend that money on specific things people need. If you know the organization and they're vouched for, in a way where you think you can trust them, send the money to them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll use that moment to do a little commercial for our fundraiser, which is right here, and you can send money to this PayPal. And I'm sorry, guys. I think most of my viewers know the story. Right now, our Shopify that we were using to raise money has suspended my account with no reason. And so hopefully in the next week or so, we're going to get it moved over to another platform. But for now, we're fundraising. Yeah, we're fundraising.
I'll tell you more about that another time.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good platform. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So right now we're just using PayPal, and as people know, we're doing a raffle to buy a drone. Cool. So it's super cool. It's $5 per raffle ticket, and you just if you pay in PayPal, just put in just put raffle, and then how it pay. If you want to buy 10 tickets, then it's $50 basically. So we already did that. We bought one drone, and I delivered it last week, I guess. Or
I love drones.
yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the drones, it's $1,000. I think we've got about 250 raised so far. So I know that having the fundraising site go down is like the worst. But anyway, we're still cranking away. So there you go. So there you go. That's my commercial, guys, for the. Maybe I'll do another one at the end. But yeah. So so you were working with a combat team, and then you were doing more sort of volunteer work. How did you get involved with the training program you were talking about? The Met
Ukraine.
Yes.
I founded it. Yeah. The first thing I did when I got boots on ground, first thing I did when I got to Poland and all that, was networking. And I think the number one thing I've learned from this whole experience is that networking is everything. Everything, guys. Having contacts is the best thing ever. So how did I? Kind of when I heard like the needs of medics, I was like, let's get some medics over. So I started recruiting people for that. Well, not just like that, but yeah. So we recruited internationals that had some relevant experience or a really big willpower. We started making teams and promised them good training, and that we could potentially refer them to good units. Yeah. How did I do that? Oh gosh, guys, this is like 3 months preparations. It's insane. I'm glad I've done it, but I wouldn't do it like that again. It was tough. So I have contacts, and one of my main contacts, most important contacts I've had when it comes to training specifically is Sylvester.
So that's this what I have up here right now, Sylvester Winiarski.
Yes.
And you were telling me, so he's doing training or planning to do trainings in
different dates. Yeah.
Different. Okay.
Should we just jump into the training thing? Because
sure, yeah,
he was the one like making all the trainings happen. He's the one with the contacts, pretty much, when it comes to training. And I am a good friend, so I get to share them. There are trainings coming up. I'm just gonna make my screen on my end bigger so I can see what I wrote on.
Let me see here. I can do this.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Yeah, guys. I'm gonna say a little bit about these trainings. Not a lot, because I put on my WhatsApp number, and the reason I did that is because if anybody is interested in this training, they can just text me there.
There we go.
We won't have majority of our conversations on there, most likely. We'll have them on Signal, but I can't be searched for on Signal. So
yeah, I'm the same. So
and I don't want to put my Signal anything up public.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to keep something on private OPSEC stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sylvester is one of the most impressive people I've ever met within anything military or medical. I can't even I'm so excited. I want to be him when I grow up, right? So he has a really impressive CV. First of all, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about. If he told me the world was flat, I'd say yeah, it is. If he told me to jump into a building of fire, I'd probably do it. I'm not questioning anything this guy says, and a lot of my knowledge when it comes to medical is because of him. Yeah. So he has a company called Spec Medical Ops. He had that, from what I know, for a long time. Sylvester, let's say this is his business, teaching and all that. But his business has changed a lot after full scale became a thing, right? his priorities are helping and giving access to training for people, especially that are going to Ukraine. And the way I want to put it is like there are big people, there are big militaries, there are militaries all over the world, specific countries too, that would blow your mind, that wants him to come and train their military and so on. But Sylvester is not going on any major trips right now because there's a war in the neighbor country, guys.
There's such a need here,
Yes. And the reason I'm saying that is because these trainings are not for free. And I really want to say why that's not a bad thing. The quality of these trainings, I've never seen anything like it anywhere. Not only because of his knowledge, but because of the props, because of the supplies that he uses, every aspect of it, the simulations. Nothing like that has ever been seen by me, maybe by others in Ukraine. No. And yes, he's also, helping people in Ukraine and so on, in Ukraine on ground and all that. Yeah. Right. So there's a bit about him, about his background on that little picture I have there. And he's, anything he's teaching, he's certified in teaching by NATO standards. Okay. Especially the medical parts. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Okay.
Yeah, it happens.
Yes.
No, I think everybody's just soaking this all in. It's a good thing for sure.
So there's a lot to be said about all of these trainings. I'm not going to say a lot about them here, but you can reach out to me if anything, if you want more information on it. I will be doing group calls on Signal at some point, specifically for those interested in specific trainings, where I give all the information, everything.
Sure.
But we have Black Tactics on, which is in May, right? And keep in mind, these trainings are they keep going. These are just the next few trainings.
Black Tactics. What does that mean? That's not an African American thing, I'm guessing.
No. So I'm gonna tell you that this it's not my field. This, from what I remember, because my team had that. Like when I had met Ukraine, it's basically mouth training, and it's CQB. And probably also other things. So these are like urban terrain things. This is interesting for those that are going to fight.
Sure.
Yeah. And also if you have military background and you're not going to fight, I promise you this is fun. Yeah.
And then boat assault, is that assaulting boats or assaulting with boats?
Right. Boat assault is not something I've done. I cannot get too much into details with that.
Sounds like sounds like you get to be a pirate. That's what it sounds like.
That is pretty much what it is, I think. I did read the description on it, but this is more, guys, this is a training where I just put it up because it's there, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get into details with what I'd recommend specific people to get. Boat assault is most likely not something you're going to be doing in Ukraine. But there are still lessons to be learned from that training. So if you're in the area anyways, and let me just start by saying these trainings are not happening in Ukraine. They're in Poland.
Yeah.
It's salting boats. Yeah.
I knew somebody was going to do that one.
Yeah.
I guess that's better than peppering boats. I don't know.
I guess so.
Anyway.
Cinnamon too. Okay. So boat assault, what I take from that training is that I've not done it, but would be teamwork, would be basic understanding of tactical decisions, all those things. So is it beneficial? Yes. If anybody's going over to fight and you're there anyways, I'd do the training.
Yeah.
But
what is PHTLS? PHTLS.
Let's skip over to that. So PHTLS is pre-hospital trauma life
saving.
I forgot. Saving, thank you. Why did I forget the last of the word? Right, and this is a new program, by the way, guys. This specific program, like PHTLS, is known all over the world. and it is used all over the world. But I think new program means that there's been changes to it. So if you've had it before, you might want to do it again.
Would you say it's different from or more comprehensive than like TCCC training, or just like a simple March protocol kind of a thing?
This training I'd do if I'm a civilian. I'm just gonna tell you guys what I think you should do depending on what. I'd do this training if you're civilian, humanitarian, if you're in any area in Ukraine where there's a chance that you might need to do medical and technical decision from that. So yeah, let me just say PHTLS I do specifically if I'm a civilian, if I'm a humanitarian. This is the one out of those that I choose. Maybe even CLS depending on where you're based. But yeah. So this is aimed for civilians from what I how to contact Emily. Can you share links in here?
Yeah, people are jonesing, man. We might have to get you in our Discord. I don't know.
You can do that. I have Discord, but guys, there's I put my WhatsApp number big on this, and you are welcome to reach out there anytime. Most likely, I'll ask you on WhatsApp to switch over to Signal, depending on what we're talking about.
Cheryl asked, who is training Azov 3rd Assault Brigade? I heard they were banned from training and supply by the USA. Cheryl, I think that's old news as far as I know. They've been taken off. They were on, like the bad guy list, because they were supposedly, let's not use the German word.
Guys, Lord, these things. Let's talk about association, right? I'm associated with a lot of units. I know people in a lot of units. Let's just say 3rd Assault Brigade is a unit I'm familiar with. I have nothing bad to say about them.
Yeah.
And I really wish people would stop calling 3rd Assault Brigade Azov.
Yeah, I know.
This is like saying 3rd Battalion is still 3rd Battalion in International Legion. It's not. A lot of units are being redone. A lot of units are torn apart and redone.
For sure.
Technically, 3rd Assault Brigade
some are still the same,
but there's no such thing as Azov anymore. Not like it was before, guys. It's stop doing this. Don't talk about them like that. If you're not been in the unit, if you're not directly associated with the unit, and if you don't have a very trusty contacts in that unit, you have no idea what that unit is.
Let's put it this way, Emily. I have met kind of like, let's call them the old guard of the 3rd Assault Brigade when they were Azov. I've met some of those people, and I've also met the newer crew, and it's totally different. Just night and day. Really.
Hence why the name changed, right, guys? You should really. It's not a rebranding of a marketing tactic, It's there's a reason for it. Okay, enough about that. Who are training? I would never tell who are training who, guys. I would never even things you hear on the media and all that. I don't even talk to people. I don't follow the media, and I mean, if it's not directly concerning you, I wouldn't ask that question. Gossip is not healthy.
It's an old thing in the media in America, and of course, how things get reported in the United States. Hell. Just the fact, keeping Ukraine in the news at all in the United States is difficult. So
in any country at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
So, but let me put it like this: are there bad things in Ukraine? Yes, there is. Are it necessarily what the media is saying? No. The things that I'm concerned about in Ukraine, the media doesn't know about.
Yeah, that's right. There are things, there are problems that we can't talk about, frankly.
Yeah. There are. And if I ever felt like this will never happen there, but if I ever felt like there was a legit reason to not support Ukraine, I'd probably say it. But there's no legit reason to not support Ukraine. So and yes, there's bad things on both ends, but I'd take 20% of bad things rather than 155.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the trainings, guys.
Yeah.
Here's CLS. You should get more detail on from me if you're a civilian, if you're humanitarian, if you like in Ukraine, and if you're never gonna have anything to do with a weapon. Just to tell you which ones of the trainings you should get more information on, even if you can't do these dates, because it's rotation, guys. Okay, CLS. I'm opening if Emily needs anything. Oh, bye, share. Is that how you say it? Share?
Yeah. Sheer. I think it's sheer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can reach out if you want to chat about anything.
Yeah, I
I'll
will.
reach out to you if I want to.
It'll be good. We'll get you guys connected because we have people in our group here who you'll want to get connected with some of these folks for sure. So
yeah, that's nice. Thanks to anyone who ever doesn't have any more time for me. It's okay. And to everyone who's been listening so far, I'm really grateful of having you guys here. Thanks. I'm sorry if I miss the chat sometimes. I get distracted.
It happens to the best of us. And but it's a small group but a good one. So
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so CLS, we're in Mariupol. I'm not gonna keep talking about this.
Yeah. We're moving on.
There's no such thing as ASAP anymore.
Always understand, even though, but I mean, I understand that they do use it in some of their marketing, and because everybody, even in Ukraine, everybody knew it. But I also agree with what Emily's saying, and I've actually talked about that in my live streams before. That Azov even Azov needs to drop its old name and just So, but totally.
Yeah, but
anyway,
guys,
so
a name is a name. It's not about the name or the history of that unit. It's about who's in it now.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So CLS.
CLS stands for Combat Lifesaver. It is technically meant for military personnel. I think Sylvester's specific training facility was one of the first to open that training up, to get permission to open that training up to civilians, that specific curriculum, because that curriculum is meant for military personnel. There's tactical elements in it. However, if you're a supply runner who goes to the front lines, or goes near the front lines, or go east, anywhere with a lot of artillery, long-range artillery, missiles, everything, I would do CLS. If you wear an IFAC for any reason, you should do CLS.
Would you say it's kind of the most basic level training that you should get in for those sorts of situations, and then maybe there's higher levels of it?
This is the if you're a supply runner, this is the only training you will need. If you're in the military, this is what you should have. This is the bare minimum you should have of combat medicine. This is March protocol. This is TC3. This is a lot more than just that. This is you saving your pals. This is you saving yourself. And this is you knowing how to use your IFAC if you have an up-to-date NATO standard IFAC plus some, because I do recommend plus some. Yeah,
and I see that the training is a week. Is that 8 hours a day for 1 week? Do you think that's what people need to?
Yeah, so CLS is technically 40-hour by standard, and it's a 5-day thing. Yeah. So keep in mind so NAEMT, which is an American association, are the ones that creates and confirms these NATO standard trainings for CLS level. You will get a certification during that training, and that certification is legit in all NATO countries and associated people countries that acknowledges NATO standards, like Ukraine. Technically, a NATO standard, when last time I was there, a NATO standard certificate is not literally anything in Ukraine, except they do know NATO standards and they do appreciate them, and they do it's legit in the eyes, but
I was going to say, I mean, do you think that NATO, we're talking about strictly about medical training here, but
Yeah.
you think are there any NATO standards that, in your opinion, or in maybe others' opinion, really don't work in Ukraine on the medical like CLS side or whatever?
Yes and no. When I took my CLS class, it was illegal for me to do a needle decompression in Ukraine.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't be allowed to because
illegal by Ukrainian law?
yeah. So I
Right.
wouldn't be allowed unless I'm in the military, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
be allowed as a civilian to treat a tension pneumothorax in the street
Right.
or whatever on an injured person. However, would I do it anyways? Yes, I would. Would I go
Yeah.
to jail? Only if he died. So and then maybe
Wow.
not even
Yeah,
because
that's
they
changed now
appreciate the
since,
help,
I think.
guys.
Yeah.
And so my level, I'm technically certified in doing cry cuts, like literally cutting up the throat and
Ah,
making them breathe again with
sure.
incubation, right? That
Yeah.
I am technically trained in doing, but depending, I might not be allowed to. Blood transfusions, part of my curriculum. Would I? And this is so complicated because on the field you're technically not allowed to do it. That I believe
Wow.
has changed now, but I haven't gotten it confirmed. Yeah.
Really?
So when you get your certifications and when you get your certifications, you also need to check up with the Ukrainian standards and laws and where you are in what situation. But on CLS level, there's really nothing you can do that I think you would be in trouble for if it's about saving a life.
Hmm.
And I also think you're allowed to do the. Thanks, guys. I think you're allowed to do the needle decompression thing now. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard about that too.
But
But
you
yeah,
need to be certified, guys. Do not do a needle decompression.
I'm not super excited about the prospect of having to stick a needle in someone's side, because of that, and also sticking that thing down someone's nose
Uh,
so that they can breathe. That's probably my least two favorite things.
I hate the NPAs. That's what you're talking
Yeah.
about, nasal
Yeah.
pharyngeal. I hate them, but are they necessary to know? Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And unfortunately, I can't use them. My nose is shit. I can't use them. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if they stick it in your nose, it's gonna.
They won't be able to.
I see. I
Yeah.
see.
I mean, yeah, but they'd probably hurt me really bad if they did.
Yeah.
Because it'd be needing to force it in, and you wouldn't because you're trained in it.
Right.
So that's something I, for example, would have to tell whoever I'm serving with, right? Just like they'd need to know my blood type, they'd need to know that I cannot be used. I can't use an NPA, which means, yay, I get to get an oral. I forgot the name.
Oral incubation.
Incubation, yeah. Or
Yeah.
I get a cry cut. Huh. You only do cry cuts if you can't do the others.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Cry cut is not CLS level, guys. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm above CLS level.
Yeah, you're not going to be cutting anyone's throat, I think, if
No,
you're just doing
you're not.
combat life saving.
The only like. No, I'm not going to get into details with CLS levels, guys. Yeah, do this if you're in hot zones or in a situation supply running and you need to carry IFACs because you understand better how to use your IFAC after CLS. I'm briefly talking about these trainings, so guys, I have a lot of information for you if you are interested in doing the training.
So, Commando 24, I
excited. But
now I already do Commando 24 because I never wear underwear. So I'm Commando 24 right now. Actually, no,
okay.
I'm lying. Please
guys,
don't ever think that.
Commando 24 is probably the most exciting thing I don't even know. I've not done it because I couldn't the last time. This is something that happens once a year. This is the shit if you're going over to fight. I can't even get my hands down. I hope I can make it. Guys, this is an 8-day training. No, sorry, 9-day training. And you're going through, like, you're getting a crash course in almost everything you might need. No, not everything, but I don't even know what to say about this. I was so prepared, but my brain is fried. I was
So
so
it's
prepared to talk about this.
yeah. So well, guess what? Guess what? This is hopefully not the last time you'll come on the show. So yeah.
guys.
So I feel like a lot of people are going like, "Oh my god, so much information!"
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
I hope this can be like
So
rewatched.
yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole
Good,
point, really.
good. You can always jump back, guys.
Yeah.
Getting recognized in any way. What blood type they have? Bloody Nazis had tattoos. I'm not sure I can answer this question. I'm not sure.
Okay. Are the soldiers ordinary Ukrainians getting recognized by anyway? What blood? Oh, okay. So you're talking about blood type. So everybody has their blood type on their uniform.
Yeah.
We have patches for that. Everybody has.
Yeah.
You have your call sign on one side and your blood type on the other side.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you should
so
have that on
usually
you.
Taken care of, and it's one of the you get like, tested for that when you get your contract, or when you actually join military, or even a lot of volunteer units. They test you. They do some basic medical testing for you and get your blood type, and you
unless you already know it, and you're like
and any tactical military shop in Ukraine that you go into, they sell patches, and in particular they also sell blood type patches. So
yeah, even Amazon.
Yeah, you can go on Amazon and buy them. Yeah,
and if you don't get a patch, you write it with a marker,
right,
until you get a patch. Great. So SEAL Commando, you will do all service members medical. So that's like pretty much first aid that all service members get in NATO standards, right? It's pretty basic. Do it. You get some tactical training that is really fun. There's a lot of fun elements included in this, such as boats and helicopter. Right?
Wow,
this is fun. This is not only for fun, guys. There are a lot of things to learn in this training, and this training is for any, like, if you're going out to fight, doesn't matter what your background is, you will learn something in this training. And you might have like things you've done before taught in a different way. You might just get recaps of things you already learned, but the whole, like, everything of this is so well curated. There are actual big so like even Polish soldiers who are Polish soldiers, they come to do that training. This training is something a lot of people and international has been asking for, and it's usually something he does every year, if I remember correctly. You will on the first day you get tested to see where you are physically compared to special forces standards. That's fun. There will be a lot of special forces instructors involved in this, guys.
I bet a lot of people show up and they thought that they could handle it, and maybe not.
No, maybe not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been tested in Ukrainian special forces standards, and I'm in bad shape. I'm in bad shape, guys.
You don't realize until you actually do it, and you're like, "Oh shit!" But then after a week or so, a week of hard training, and then the next week it gets better. It gets better. That's the point. You just got to keep doing it.
These trainings, I will say, you're training from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. It's intense days, guys, and sometimes you're even doing it through the night. Like, this is hard. This is intense. But if you can't do this training physically, I wouldn't join a unit.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't. I mean, I'm not talking about the standards for special forces. I'm talking about in general, like the whole week. If you're like taking a day off because the training is so intense, because you're training from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m., you're not going to the front lines. Yeah. Or if you are, you're not going back.
Yeah.
So do this training to test yourself.
Can you believe we've been going for an hour and 45 minutes? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but this is also, so I guess we've spoken about like doing specific topics maybe in future videos. Prepared. We're like going all over the place today.
That was the intention here today, was to just kind of casual conversation and just kind of touch on a bunch of different things. and then in future conversations, then we can really delve into specific topics, and I think it'll be really valuable and interesting for people.
I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to tell the OPSEC story early on.
Yeah.
I was planning on doing that.
I know. It's okay.
Yeah.
We will save that for next time. It'll be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
It'll be super fun.
I think we should do like a story time day.
Dude, for
I have
sure.
so many
Like,
crazy stories.
dude, exactly.
Yeah.
It's for reals. For reals. I think everybody here is like just learning a lot, and so we'll get you in on our Discord so you can talk to some of the people who are here, that almost everyone here.
Yeah.
And get in on some of the things that we're planning and sort of getting rolling here. And I guess what I want to do now, I guess, all right, if I don't do this, somebody's going to remind me. So I will mention once again, and Cheryl, thank you. You said earlier, you said, what's the raffle for? Okay, so the raffle, guys, that we're doing, this fundraiser, is to buy this particular drone. We've already bought one. It's $1,000, including the batteries. It's called a Spider 3. It carries 6 kilograms and has a 20-kilometer range. And we delivered one to the 63rd Brigade drone unit last week. Last week. And they were totally into it. And so we intend to deliver more. And so you can, right now, our fundraising is just on PayPal, and you can donate. You can see my PayPal email is there, and here's the QR code if you want to use that. Yes, we're calling it Air Force Y for Y Ukraine. So, and I will be uploading video shorts showing the handoff, the delivery, and the flags behind me were signed by the drone units for the 63rd Brigade here. So, and so we're actually kind of, the direction we're headed, quite possibly, is what some people are talking about, is the possibility of actually building drones here in Ukraine. So we got a lot of people with a lot of projects going on.
Oh my god, I feel like I want to do a course on how to build drones.
Well, that's funny because I taught 2 drone camps last year.
That's cool.
Yeah, for teenagers, actually, for a school in Kyiv, and they actually now have, in the school, they have their own like drone assembly training course, based on it. So, so it turned into a really good thing. So that's what the raffle is for. This is the PayPal QR code, and if you are selected as the winner, you will be the proud owner of this amazing painting by Belle, who is our resident artist in our group. Yeah, it's pretty evocative for sure. And then you will also receive so Belle is actually, you'll also receive, this is, I don't know if you've seen these stamps here in Ukraine. These it's Patron pissing on a Grad rocket, I think. But this is actually a magnet, a fridge magnet based on the stamp. So it goes on your fridge. And then lastly, wow, that's a blurry picture. I'm sorry.
I love that one. I have
So
that picture.
These are the actual collectible stamps, which I have right here in front of me, and they are actually signed. Excuse me here. Yeah, there we go. They are actually signed by the let's see, the International Legion 2nd Battalion Bravo Company drone team. So that's so Sphinx, who really great guy, who signed this. So so it's a cool little collection of collectibles from and also also you'll get this signed flag here, which
I want to
is
participate.
which is signed by one of the FPV operators, FOMA, of the 63rd Brigade drone team. So
this is so cool.
From Zaporizhia, yeah. So and they really want to partner with us so that we can be kind of like their drone suppliers, essentially. So it's going to be
cool.
very interesting. Yeah, it'll be an interesting thing. So yeah, guys, any feel free, donate away. Anyway, so that's and the last thing, someone asked about, there are 2 live streams coming up this evening. Not my own, and I always like to promote other streamers. So Rick the Ukrainian is premiering here in 7 minutes.
Oh god, we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah, now this is a video premiere. It's a premiere of the video, but basically it's one of his fundraisers for the 69th Sniffing Brigade, where they delivered what, like 200 300 trucks to the front lines. And then lastly, I don't think Dick Dawson is still in the chat now, but he is the Shills. Feel free if you guys are staying up past my bedtime.
My brain is fried now, so I would love to watch some of the other streamers, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'll get information from you on that.
Yeah, the Shills is in America, and they will be starting. I think they start in an hour, 1 hour from now, at 10, if I'm not mistaken, at 10 p.m. Kyiv time. And they're in America, so they get like operator Starsky on there, and all of the big name fundraisers and things. And it's really just a nice, casual, fun talk. But we do talk about some important topics about Ukraine. It's all dedicated to Ukraine. So I don't know if I'm going to be going on there or not. It is a bit late for me. So and Dick Dawson, he said there might be too many people on the show today. So that's fine. I don't need to drink more coffee. But yeah, so so this is totally awesome. I'm going to take this photo or this picture that you have here, and I'll be pasting that into our Discord, and I'll also be sharing it. I'll be sharing it in the community tabs on our on this channel, so that people can can see it and hopefully contact you.
Yeah. I mean, anytime, guys. I'm not guaranteeing I can answer anytime, but I'll do my best to answer everyone immediately, and if I don't, then I have something going on, and I'll answer as soon as I can.
Yeah, cool, super cool. And then let's see. Oh, Real Dave Seaman was talking about the Discord link. So yeah, so we have a Discord, and we are slowly, right now it's invite only. So we are, but we are slow. We want to be, balance security and community, right? So we're slowly opening it up, but we have like sort of secure areas, and as we're building it out. So I'll provide that link to people. Anybody watching this far into the stream, they're pretty deep down the Ukraine rabbit hole. That's
I can imagine.
So yeah, but really all a great group of people. So yeah, I guess what I should ask is there anybody here in the chat still who has any questions more? Emily, now hang on, I'm Real Dave Seaman, I swear to God I'm finding it. Oh, here we go. No, yeah, okay, anyway, yeah, so who else who has any let's see, Last Alliance, don't forget to get in touch with Mercado he'll be over there too this year. Does a lot of trucks. Yeah. We're talking about. There's so many. There's this huge community on. I mean, every platform has a community now of people supporting Ukraine, and whether it's Twitter or YouTube or Discord, all of that. So, hang on a second. Cool. I'm going to boosh. Oh, we lost audio for a second. It's probably my computer because I have too many things open.
I thought it was my end. I thought I was the one with the bad connection when you were talking. I was like, damn it.
No, it's mine. If I have it's in my inbox. Okay. Inbox on. Give me a second, really, Seaman.
I turn on the light for a moment. It's getting dark here.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay. And here I will copy. Yeah, this is better. That's what I want. Yes, thank you. I found it. Yay! There's a link for the Discord. You can. There we go. No, that's the wrong. That's not it. It's this one. Yes, there we go. Okay. That's the Discord link. Not this one here. Oh well. Anyway. So, it has been great having you on this show. This is amazing, and it's really. Thanks. I think everybody is super impressed.
Thanks.
And
I appreciate it.
Yeah, everybody is like, yeah.
My anxiety is slowly kicking in. Like, I forgot I was anxious, but now I'm like, shit, what have I said? Did I say something I shouldn't have mentioned? Like, have I said something am I?
I don't think so. No. Yeah, no, I've no, I don't think so. And you actually did a good job of when I was asking things that were getting into too much detail that you didn't feel like you could share. You successfully drew the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, great job on that.
That's because things that happened after that in that timeline, that's the things I'm not. I can't really talk about yet.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing where, like I said, we do have a Discord community, and we have different sort of levels of security in there, and it's not end-to-end encryption or whatever. Right, but
you guys are so funny. Thank you, guys. You're so sweet. I'm so happy I could chat with all of you. And as I said, you can reach out to my number anytime. Depending on the topic, I might switch over to Signal. Yeah,
for sure.
In general, I do just by coincidence have a lot of random knowledge too. So, and I have contacts that might have the knowledge I don't have. So if you ever have questions about anything, you can always ask.
Yeah, cool. Well, yeah, we'll get you into our group, and welcome to the show, man.
Thanks. This is so awesome. Much fun.
Well, welcome to the Last Alliance. Yeah.
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 Oh,
wow.
Evie, so, one moment, Evie. My dog wants to walk.
Great. Yeah, for sure. It's great timing. This is perfect timing for us to wrap it up. So, what's your dog's name, by the way?
Evie. Like the Pokemon.
Evie. Awesome.
Like Pokemon, yeah.
Awesome. Hello, Evie. Here. Evie.
Come.
Evie.
Come on. She ignores me now because I've been ignoring her for 2 hours.
Yeah. She's like, I want to walk. I need to go outside.
Welcome to the club. Right. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's get it
wrapped up. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, Emily. And guys, I want to say thank you all for coming, and thank you for paying attention and asking great questions. And hopefully we can get some donations for to buy that drone. And I hope that some of you take advantage of this training too, if you happen to be coming to Poland. So Slava Ukraine, everybody.
Yeah.
And Dobo Bachenya.
Oh, I keep not being able to pronounce that.
Well, live here for 5 years.